All right, back again. We're gonna try and catch up in the Korn Ferry Tour opener on Deere Run. I am, I guess what did it be? Two under at the moment. Whoops, hit the right buttons. You know, I have to say, I really do love this game, and it's a shame because this game was sold to me and everybody else that bought it as a kind of a farce. Essentially, 2K Sports are criminals. They sell you a game that only works for some indeterminate amount of time that's designated by them. I love playing this game. I love the look of it, the feel of it. But I'm gonna go ahead and reset my controller right off the bat here, just to get that out of the way. But the thing is, back on what I was talking about, they've already put the message, it pops up when you start the game, that they're going to be shutting off the servers for this game, like the end of this year. I believe that's the right date. I could be wrong on that, but it's right around that time. And that will make what I'm doing right now, what I'm playing right now, unplayable. You could still go in and play a golf game, but you can't compete in any of the tour mode. Now this tour mode is not connected to anybody else. Nobody else is, I'm not playing against anybody else's numbers other than CPU players. So there's no reason for this mode to be connected, that I should have to be online. And right now I know if my internet goes down or something, I can't play in this mode. In other words, you have to be online to play in this mode. So it's just a shame because they've got a good thing here. But what they do, and this is completely intentional, and it's all about greed, they say, okay, we want you to buy the next version, so we're going to kill this version. Completely intentional. And to me, it's theft, because especially at the price that we pay for these games, I don't know. Somebody ought to go to jail over it. Or at least be made uncomfortable somehow. But, you know, our governments are not our governments. They just take care of themselves and take care of the corporate buddies, So here we go. Let me get going. Stop rambling. We try and enjoy the day. I'm all hopped up on sugar. I'm kind of living on a shoestring. And today was my payday for my pension. And a pension may sound like a lot, but another instance of the corporations robbing the guy that's just trying to make a living. I worked for AT&T for 23 years because I wouldn't take the shot. I was forced out the door 2 years shy of my meeting the 25-year mark to get my full pension. So they reduced my pension from what would have been close to $500,000 in total value down to, I don't even know what the total value is considered right now, but monthly I get like a little over $600. That's what I'm living on right now. So that means no car, because I sold the car to pay the property taxes on the house. No insurance of any kind. Groceries, that means essentially no meat, because meat's expensive now. I mean, the kind of meat you can buy, you wonder if it is actually meat. I buy hot dogs and stuff, but anymore I don't really trust what's in it. You know, that was never great ingredients in that stuff anyway, but at least they used to taste good back when I was young. But these days it's like they just taste like bland, I mean, hot dog textured, but no real flavor like they used to. So it makes me think that whatever's going into them is not what it used to be. Anyway, I could go off rambling on that kind of stuff all day. I don't want to do that. I just want to play golf. But I felt like I should tag 2K Sports, because on this particular method of operation that they are criminally operating, and somebody's operating criminally, they should be called out. And see what I did? Because of all that ranting, I made a bogey there. Where am I at? Tied for 19th place. Middle of the fairway. Doesn't roll off the side. This green's always a hard one for me to hit. Leave it on the green, I can hit it, but it's hard to keep it on there. My cat is talking to me in the background. I live by myself, so I don't know. I think when I start talking to the microphone and there's nobody else around, I think they must think I'm talking to them. A lot of times when I start talking to the microphone, they want to talk back, or Anna does. Anna is my cat. She's something special. She likes to argue with me. Actually, I was busy talking and didn't notice, but I actually managed to land it on the green that time. This is uphill, so I gotta give it some extra club. That isn't too bad. It stays on. Yeah. I'm liking that. says it's downhill an inch. Sloping pretty hard. Oh my gosh, too soft. Which will pull it offline and not get there. It's actually getting closer than I thought it was going to. Not a bad putt for that distance, I guess, but I really missed the mark on what I was trying to do. So that's a good thing. Of course, if I would have hit where I wanted to, it would have been higher and a little bit longer, so it might have went in. Higher against the slope that is. You didn't catch my meaning. Oh, I was off time. Put it right into the tree. It's alright. It's not that far to the green anyway. This is a windy course on this tournament. Oh, that's what I started to say a while ago. I'm all hopped up on sugar. So I had my payday and I'm ordering my groceries for the month, but I always get myself a little special something, so it feels like I get a little special something at some point. So I actually had ice cream today. Got a 2-liter bottle of Coke, frozen pizza. Man, I am living like a king, let me tell you. I also bought a box of fresh mushrooms and some cheese. Put the mushrooms and cheese on top of the frozen pizza. For me, at this point in life, that is like, man, it's hard to beat it. But I can tell it's like I got a rush from the sugar in the ice cream and the Coke. Actually, it's not Coke. It's what is that called? Sam's Club? No, Sam's Choice or something. The Walmart. I guess it's Walmart brand. It's not great value is Walmart brand. I don't know what it is. Anyway, it's the cheap stuff, $1 a bottle. Which a few years ago, I probably would have been like, I don't know, it doesn't measure up to Coke. But, you know, when you don't have much, you get a lot less picky. So that's the positive, being broke all the time. Oh, down 5, the wind's blowing to the left. It's the gap wedge. So I'll actually be hitting kind of into the wind because it's going to push it to the left. So let me go ahead. Which means if I do that, it's going to take some of the distance off. So I'm going to go ahead and push that back up like that. Let's see what happens. Down 3. Putting on that downward slope, it really, if it's going down like 3 or 4 inches and you got that cross slope, it's pretty good. it really curves the putt a lot. Versus if it was going up, well, it doesn't curve it near as much. So if any of you decide to play this game, I mean, you'll figure it out yourselves. Even with all that pushing to the left there, I still missed it and ended up going down the hill. I got a longer putt now than I had before. Okay, we're going up 18 inches and we're being pushed to the left again, but I'm not going to have to go nearly as far outside. It holds closer to the line when you're going uphill. They can get it hard enough. And it hardly pushed at all either. Usually if you hit it softer, it's going to push it a little more. That was almost dead straight, it looked like. You know what, guys? I am sorry. I went off on a rant very first thing. Like I say, I'm drunk on sugar right now, alright? I ate ice cream and soda, pizza, all that stuff. Yeah, it just leads to no good, right? You don't want to tune in and hear somebody ranting. So my apologies. Oh my goodness, 9-iron. Pull back a little bit. Wait, another thing I wish I could do with this. Sure wish I could zoom out a little bit, or at least turn the view up. So I could see where the top of the tree is. Alright, so let's pull this way. Man, wind is going against me. You know what? Could end up out in there. So here's what we're going to do. We're just going to try and keep it in play. Get crazy with it. It'll give me a good shot into the green. It's almost like, well, it is taking a stroke, but maybe I'll get lucky and hole out. Timing's off. Down a couple inches again with a heavy crosswind, cross grade. What do they call that? Is that? I don't know. Oh my goodness, I got. Saved my par. I just realized I took a drink and grabbed a piece of ice and was chewing it up there, and I looked down and saw, it's hitting the mic. So sorry about that. I know some people are not fans of the idea of chewing ice. But I like eating ice. It's the one thing that keeps me cool in these hot Texas days. I think it's supposed to be 105 out today. Can you imagine? 105. Which seems to be about normal for Texas these days. Hey, I'm at 200. Tied for 18th. Yeah, timing wasn't too bad there. Got a little bit of a draw because of it. Up 5, up wedge. And the ball's below my feet, so it's gonna want to kick right also. Try it right there. Good time, good time. Have a good time. Gotta have a good watch. Alright, this needs about 3/4 of my swing power. That might even be too much. In fact, it's on the fringe, probably closer to half. This is such a hard swing. Generally, because it's such a short range I gotta go, then I speed things up and then it makes it a mess. Oh, look at that. Actually, was slow on it. Usually on that short of a pitch, I end up all the way to the right. Or all the way to the left because my speed is like tremendously too fast. Kind of funny, I ate all that sugary stuff. I could literally feel it. It was like, made me kind of lightheaded or dizzy or something. Kind of amazing to me how you can abuse your body when you're young. I used to eat tons worse than this and not feel any effect from it. But these days, with age, you feel it more, or I feel it. A little light on that. Didn't matter, I was offline. Tiptoe. gonna count on the wind to help me out here. Going right at the flag, it was kind of, that's me gambling. Turned out pretty good. If it'll stay on the green, that'd be nice, but it doesn't look like it. Let's try this. See how I got way fast on the meter? Man, just that had it been the perfect timing, that would have been in. It's just hard chipping. I don't know, that's one thing in this game that's very difficult because it seems like the chipping and pitching requires a different pace, the way you swing in this is you draw the thumbstick back so the club goes up, and then you push it forward to do the swing, and the rate that you push it forward determines the speed on that little meter on the right hand side. You know, if you get the right speed, it lands inside of perfect, but if you're too slow, it goes way right and your shot goes right, and if you're too fast, it goes way left and your shot goes way left. Just a little explanation. It's not as simple as the old click meters we used to play, you know, like 2 clicks or 3 clicks or something. That's the reason I play this game. Like I say, it pisses me off that 2K's being the way they are with, you know, revoking your game at the end of a time frame. At the same time, it's like there's no other competition out there with this at this level. So, and this is, I have to say, it's a great golf game. For my enjoyment, that's all I'm basing it. I'm not gonna sit there and analyze. You know, you watch videos where people will go through a game, give it a rating, like break it all down at this level and that, this graphics, and a billion different variables that are generally made for just content. You got to come up with something to make the videos longer. But in my perspective, this is a great game, and I'm judging that solely on how much I enjoy it and how much I've played it. Just love the game. I have loved games all my life. I should have found a way to get into the industry, maybe, I don't know. I just love games. Oop, thumb slipped off. So on 2K, the reason, like I say, they've got the next version. This is 2K23. Now they've got, I think it's 2K25 or something like that. They got a newer version out anyway. So that's the reason they're doing that. They're gonna kick us all off the old game to get us to buy the new game. And I'm not buying the new game. I really want to. There's something in me that wants to, but this game we'll still be able to play like just the courses that it has on it, but I won't be able to play the season. But the season is half the fun on it. But I'll just keep it around and I'll go play all the courses. There's a lot of courses. I made a homemade course that, let me get this putt done. back when I was a teenager. My friend and I, my mom and dad owned 5 acres out in the country, and most of it was kind of like what you'd call pasture land. We didn't have like cattle or sheep or anything like that. It was just open field that you could have pastured cows on it, except it wasn't fenced in. Road ran through the middle of it. I'd say maybe there was like 3 acres on one side and 2 acres on the other side. And it was a dirt road, not a highway or anything. Very little traffic. So my high school buddy and me, to be honest, oh yeah, I do remember how it started. My dad had picked up some, and managed to get a hold somewhere. He got a hold of a couple golf clubs, like I think a 3-iron and a 4-iron, and we had started playing. I think maybe Dad and I don't remember who the first was. It was probably Dad, because he liked gamers too. And we had various trees around the property here and there, and we just started playing a game where we would hit it to the trunk of the tree. We didn't have holes and stuff, so we'd just counter strokes, and we said, okay, this tree's the next hole, and going on like that. And if you hit the trunk of the tree, well, that was sinking the putt, so to speak. But we only had those 2 clubs. And what is funny about that is you got really good with maneuvering what kind of shot you made with those clubs. Let me do this. So we did that a lot, and eventually one of my friends came out, and my best friend in high school, and we played a few times, and we decided, hey, let's make a hole, like make some greens and stuff. So we used to work for auctions and sales and stuff. We would haul furniture and set up auctions and stuff. There was another guy that owned a company that did that, and he would always call us call me more than anybody, me and my cousin, and my friend would sometimes help too. And we knew, I don't know, there was just a lot of places around where we could pick up old carpets, like carpeting in a house. So we found 7 carpets, all kind of ranging in sizes. One of them was actually indoor-outdoor carpet, which was kind of nice. It was kind of smaller though. But we took all those carpets and we put them around the place. We kind of leveled the ground out, decided where we wanted the pins and such. And we put those carpets down, and we took at the edges, we would kind of take a shovel and mark where the edge of the carpet was, and then lift the carpet, roll it back a little bit, and kind of make a lip, like a 45-degree angle there. And then we would go back and stick the shovel in, and then lift the ground a little bit and stick the edge of the carpet into that angle, so the carpet all kind of got tucked in neatly at the edges underground to make the edges look nice, so there wasn't a big bump there. And then he brought his mower out. He had a push mower that would go really low. Mom and Dad, all they had was a riding mower. John Deere, old, like 60s garden tractor. And I tell you, Mom and Dad were so happy about it because my friend and I were constantly mowing the place to keep it looking sharp and make the game better to play. But he brought out his push mower and put it down real low, and we mowed out kind of a, you could almost call it like a fringe area in reality. Well, compared to a normal golf, it would have been considered rough on a normal golf course, but we mowed it down so low, and then it was summertime, so it just burned immediately. So we had these big brown spots around the green. We didn't have a like watering system or anything. So it was like you had a big fringe and then a small little carpet green. And we used some PVC pipe and cut it short lengths and made our hole. We didn't really have movable pins because would have really tore up the carpets to do that. Same deal on the holes when we cut the carpet and stuck the PVC pipe in for the hole. We tucked the carpet in down around the edge of the PVC pipe as we put it in there. And that way, and we always made sure the PVC pipe kind of went a little bit lower so there wasn't a bump there to get into the hole itself. And my mom, being the crafty person she was, she made us some flags. They were all pink flags. Kind of funny now that I think about it. She made the flags. My friend and I went into the woods and cut a bunch of, I don't know, saplings or something. We had some long straight branches of some kind. They were really, honestly, they were about the right height. I don't know what the official height was, but just standing by them, like when you see people stand by a flag on a golf course, that's about the height they were. And we made the bottom end of them real pointy so we could shove it down in the mud in the bottom of the hole. And man, we played so many rounds of golf out there. And it was like the longest hole, I think, was 143 yards. The shortest was probably about 70 yards. We had fairways that were crossing because there wouldn't have been any way to do it without crossing the fairway. Well, there would have been, but the holes wouldn't have been nearly as interesting. You would have had to lay them in there all straight angles with the edges of the property, straight lines, and we wanted things to be a little different, mix it up a little bit for the fun. And we played that course so many times. Let's see, I think first off, I arranged a tournament out there for me and some friends at school. Had one of the teachers come out. I forget, there was a lot of people came out. It kind of became popular there for that stretch. Everybody knew it as, well, I won't say the name for privacy purposes. Well, it doesn't matter. It was a little extinct town called Sprague. So we called it the Sprague Country Club. There wasn't really a town there anymore, but that area was, that's what it was called. And Dad had, with the guys that he worked with, they set up at least 2 tournaments out there. It was just a blast. There's a lot of mowing though. A lot of mowing on a golf course. do you think, guys? Is this anywhere close? Oh, 50-mile-an-hour wind also. Slope of that side of the green there caught. I didn't notice that. Let's put some spin on this. Hopefully we'll get it close and it'll stop. I didn't get it close enough. All right. Look at that. I get to talking and I didn't notice I'm like 5 under. Yeah, the property had a pond on it, kind of off in a corner. And the funny thing was, there wasn't really a good way to hit over the pond. We did have one tee off. There was a green and a tee off box kind of on the dam of the pond. At one time, Dad had hired a bulldozer guy to come out, clean out the pond. We pumped the pond dry, and then the bulldozer got in there and pushed all the mud out. It all went kind of to the side of the pond and left this elevated area out there. It's a pretty good size area. Thinking about it, if you just took a big pond scooper and scooped it all out and then just plopped it right beside the pond, and then it kind of flattened out on top, that's kind of what you had. So this nice elevated area, and it really was flat on top, which was nice for the golfing thing. Should I put this? I think I'm gonna put this. Oh. Anyway, so there was nothing that actually where you had to hit over the water. And in fact, there was one hole that was kind of out away from the pond. The pond was kind of way off from the side of it. And if you were looking at kind of the strictly more or less fairway, because the way the trees were, it made the fairway kind of what you would call a dog leg left. And the pond was to the right of that fairway, but it was a long ways to the right. I mean, it was probably, 50 yards to the right. I seen so many people off that tee box put the ball in that pond. Constantly slicing balls, and I did it myself. It was just like that pond is not even in play anywhere. It would have been like if I was doing the tee off, the pond would have been probably over there somewhere. I was just amazed. Believe it or not, I had for my FFA project, I had that pond stocked with catfish. And see, this is up 14 using a 3-iron. With the wind going the way it is, we're going to try that. we had that pond stocked with catfish, and fish farming was my thing for FFA. But over the years, I want to say more than once, somebody, believe it or not, they're fishing with, you know, a hook and line. Sometimes they would fish with lures, but usually for catfish, it was like a hook and a worm and bobber. But I think at least 2 times somebody would pull their hook in, and there would be what looked like a string attached to it, and you keep pulling the string, and what it was a golf ball that, I guess, I don't know if water seeps inside and causes them to expand or something, but it would make them kind of explode. And of course, a golf ball on the inside of it is like tightly wrapped rubber band, and every once in a while hook would catch a hold of one of those rubber bands. Probably still a lot of golf balls down that way. I don't know how long it takes them to rot, but there was a lot. I seen personally a lot of golf balls hit into that pond. It was kind of a deep pond too. I mean, for the size of it. In fact, look at that. Let's look at this green a second. That is about the size and shape of the surface of that pond I was just talking about. That's kind of funny. Relative to my person there. But it was like at the deepest part, 14 foot deep. When we dug it, over time, you know, they kind of fill back in. But it says I got 91%. Maybe I don't know. We'll try it there. Try it. It's too hard. What the heck? Did that come off? Looked like my stroke was straight. It come off the club hard right. Oh, was it downhill? Oh my gosh, come on. Sink this thing. And I'm back down to 3 under. Start paying attention to the score and start going down. That place had a lot of hours of golf played on it, and most of the playing was there wasn't any driver holes, of course, so no use for a driver out there. It's all irons. I use mostly pitch and wedge and 9-iron. I think maybe a 7-iron on the longest hole. But good times. Ah, shoot, 87%. Even had the town newspaper come out one time. they took a picture and did a write-up on it. And then after that, we had people like stopping by wanting to play, like people we didn't know, and that was a bit unfortunate because Dad wasn't going to have that. He wasn't mean about it or anything, but his concern was somebody would come out there and get hurt and get hit by a ball or something, and then he was afraid they'd sue us and try and take the farm away. So I understand his concern. It's kind of funny because people weren't near as litigious then as they are now. I ended up where I started, 2 under. Even for the day. That was a little slice of paradise back then. I didn't even know it. I knew it was fun, but I didn't know how good we had it. Mom and Dad weren't rich by any means. They always found a way. And by today's standards, and what they had, they were rich. They had that 5 acres out there and a house they built. I don't think it was paid off at that time, though. They were still paying on it. I think they took out like a mortgage on the land so they could afford to build the house on it. I think. I'm not sure about that, but is it possible to get close to that green? Par 4, 305. Using a driver. The wind is with me. I might be able to get it there. Let's risk it. Oh, it swung too hard or fast. Man, that was gonna be, I hate that. I got this perfect. It's like I could see this working. It's all looking right in my mind, and then I forget to focus on the important thing, which is how fast you swing the thumbstick. That said, this is the reason that I love this game, because it is very realistic. Because in real life you can do 90% of the stuff right that you should do when you're lining up your shot and everything. And in the middle of it you can have a muscle twitch, and it just, all that investment didn't mean a thing. Say, on a bad day, it's a practice in sadism. Not like I've played in ages. I think the last time I played a real round of golf was in the 90s. That would have been around 98, 97. 97 or 98 in Grandview, Missouri. There was I think that course was in Grandview. But I ate way too much sugary stuff. It's kind of hard though, because you get, for most of the month, you're kind of hungry because you can't really, you gotta ration out what you got. And then when payday hits and you get your little treats, for me there's a tendency to overdo it. No self-control. Makes for a fun day. Of course I'll feel loud. I'll have a sugar hangover tomorrow. I'd love to do carnivore so I could take some weight off. And I tried it last month, but I just can't afford it. There's just, buy the cheapest stuff available out there, but it's not enough to satiate me when I'm eating that. And beef is just off the table. It's well out of what I can afford. So and my life experience has shown me that's about the only way being able to lose weight. All the freaking cheap food is really bad for any kind of grains, flour type products, flour based, grain based. All that stuff seems like, for me, it's just horrible, and beyond being horrible, it's like an addiction for me. So I have a little bit, then I'm gonna have too much and never fill up on it. Dang, I kind of thought I had that. Oh, so close. Anyway, this month I'm going a different route. I bought like a ton of broccoli and I bought some cheese. And I'm going to ration that out over the month. Got some eggs too, which fortunately eggs are back to being cheap again for the most part. Got an 8-mile-an-hour wind. That's a lob wedge. Probably. So once I get through my little stash of sweets, well, I will be back to broccoli and cheese for the rest of the month. I hadn't tried that before, so we'll see how it goes. Maybe I'll create a new diet. I figured because I could buy it in big amounts, I figure it'll be filling anyway. Figure I'll throw it in a skillet with some water in the bottom. Put the lid on, kind of steam it a little bit. And when it gets softened up some, well, I won't have much water in the bottom. That water will have burned off by that point. Put a little lard in there. Break some eggs. Mix it all up. When it's all cooked, sprinkle a little cheese on top. And then it'll probably be a culinary delight. Dead right distance on that, but that wind took it off the edge. Oh, goodness. So that was the big excitement for the day, the grocery haul. I need to get started selling everything. I need to clear this house out. That's the plan. I'm gonna sell everything to empty the house, then sell the house, go live abroad, because I can't afford America anymore. All those fantasy stories they sold us when we were coming up. And I did the right things, but you can't foresee. God, it's rolling forever. Gosh dang it, all the way down. Yeah, you can't foresee things. I'd never foresaw my wife getting cancer, fighting it several times. The bills associated with all that, as well as back problems, her back problems, now my back problem. Mine are not bad enough that I can't afford a doctor anyway. I don't have insurance. You freaking kidding. Do not do this again. Oh my gosh. Here we go, coming right back to me. And this is how you lose the Korn Ferry tour. Guess I better focus on getting this in the hole. Is that like a triple bogey? So I gotta get started selling everything, which is a hard thing because my wife and I for years we were kind of preppers. We had built up a lot of stuff over the years for use for down the road, kind of building our prepper vault, right? But she never made it there till we got to use it. And I guess you could say the process of going through the loss kind of really jacked me up for a while. Still kinda, although I'm way better now than I was. So I have all this house full of stuff that I need to go through, stuff built up over like 30 years. We were married in 92. She passed in 2020. Oh, can you swing the club right, please? Too hard, probably off the green. I'm not thinking. I don't know why you're shaking your fist. I think that was probably odds. Yeah, that was a bogey also. Through 8. I'm in the mode to just phone it in today. Kind of fun though, sitting here recounting my stories. Whether anybody ever listens to them or not, who knows? Maybe somebody will find them one day. A little too hard still, I think. Greens are fast today. Kidding. Man. Can I get back to even? 5 under? I have fallen off the mark. Anyway, that was a good homemade golf course we had. Lots of fun. I would do it again if I had the land to do it on. That was a gamble, but I'm willing to take it. Look at that, I'm still gonna miss the green right. Or left. The right and left thing, that was always confusing. I've had a whole lifetime to let right and left sink in where you would think it would be automatic, you know? And I think for most people it is automatic. Why is it not automatic for me? Just kind of brain dead that way, I guess. I don't know. But I always have to think about it. And then I start thinking about why I have to think about it. Do a lot of thinking. I didn't think enough about that chip, I guess. There's all this talk about you will own nothing and be happy. And it's set up as a, well, you know how it's set up. I mean, anybody that's been paying attention kind of understands it. Essentially, the governments and corporations will own everything, and people will just be left to do whatever those entities tell them to do. But here's the thing. I mean, it's kind of funny with those evil forces in the world, because it's true in a way. You will own nothing and be happy. But I have learned, and I made good money back when I was working for AT&T. Do you know what I have learned from that? Do you have any clue what I've learned? Because I have a lot of stuff now that means a lot to me. In various ways. but probably wouldn't mean much to other people. Well, hence, when I go to sell it, it's not like it's going to be with a lot of money. I'm not going to get a lot out of it. But I still hate to let it go. And it occurs to me, and I'm sure I'd heard this or read this before somewhere, but it really is the truth. What you own owns you. You never really own anything. Because at some point you die and it's, out of your hands. So whatever you think you own out there, it's just rented. Rented for your lifetime. Now you have these cases where somebody's got a piece of land that's been in their family for many generations, and that's cool. And I agree. I mean, even I, for those people, I really understand. It's like, we're going to keep this land. This was our family's for all that time. I understand that because of the generational thing. But at the same time, in reality, if you keep zooming out, it doesn't really matter, because your family wasn't there for all of eternity. In fact, the whole planet is only temporary. You take the accepted view of cosmology. At some point the sun will blow up. So it'll be done. I personally think, just so you know where I'm coming from, I think this is all... there's a lot of different ways to say it, but I think for the modern crowd, the easiest way to say it is, I think this is all like a big VR chamber. And I'm not saying it's using the same technology as what we use. But I think reality is outside of here. I think I believe the only reason we're here is just for the experience of it. I don't even think, a lot of people that have similar beliefs in that regard, they will say it's a school and this, we're here to learn this thing and learn that thing. But everybody I've heard that has died and managed to come back, kind of smoked that one. Yeah, people that have died and came back, they all say when you're outside of here, all knowledge is accessible to you. So I don't really think it's a matter of you're here to learn things, unless you consider having an experience is learning. And that's definitely a good argument. I mean, if you talk to somebody that doesn't know how to ride a bike, has never ridden a bike, and ask them to explain, write a instruction manual on how to ride a bike, just going by videos they've studied of other people riding bikes. I mean, you could say, well, that's kind of knowledge, but it's not, I don't know, it's kind of fake knowledge in a way, because the person explaining it hasn't really been through the experience. Now, if you ask somebody that still really freshly remembers how they learned to ride a bike, you're probably, and given if they're a decent writer, decent communicator, they're probably going to be able to teach somebody else a lot better. And it does seem like they have more knowledge via experience than you would if you just tried to figure something out by watching someone else. Being in the experience is more educational. So there could be that. Maybe it is that. And that's kind of, I mean, in my belief, we come here because outside of here, essentially paradise is accessible. It has nothing to do with what we think of here as good people, bad people, or anything. Everything outside of here has access to everything. But we like our games, and we're curious. And maybe in that, even out there, we can't really know what something is like without the experience of it. So maybe we build this little VR game to gain something from the experience of it. Or it could be as simple as it's something to do. We don't even gain anything. Just like me playing this game right now. I don't gain anything from playing this game. I just love to play it. I put it on YouTube with, you know, some smallest hint of hope that I might stir some interest in somebody's wanting to watch it. But realistically, I know I'm not going to be a YouTube influencer for sure, because I don't have it in me, I don't think. Those guys are pretty energetic in what they do. It's a lot of work. And these days, I'm not feeling that inclined to work that hard today. I think I kind of burned out over the years. I worked 23 years at AT&T, and I gave them my best. That's what's kind of frustrating about it. I always put the job first, as far as, mainly because it was important to keep the job, because we needed the health insurance and that kind of thing. So it's not out of idealism or something like that. But it was talk at the same time. Still, it was an investment to make myself the best technician I could be all those years, and they took advantage of it. I mean, I don't feel like I was taken advantage of in that realm. I was just being my best at what I did and working very hard at it. And when conflicts would come up arising time-wise, well, like between home and work, well, I'd generally choose work because I felt like I needed to hang on to that lifeline of money. And it seems stupid to say this because it should be obvious, but in the end, the corporation does not care one inkling. They don't care at all about employees. There's no connection for them. In fact, most of the time they would, if they could find a way to do without you, they will do it. And I can't say that I didn't know that before. I mean, because I knew that, and I remember talking to people like that before. But at the same point, yeah, it's a bitter pill when it gets down to the point when they act on it. And you start thinking about all the hours you gave that place and put in, all the time given up on other things you could have been doing. It really comes down to the things, that was hard, things that are of most value in this life are relationships, your connections with people. And I've not been good with that, other than my immediate family. My wife and I, was just me. The health problems never allowed us to have kids, so when she was gone, you know, that was that. What is that? Mizuno, look at this corporation. Mizuno cutting me. My performance is not good enough for them. Ah, man. How fickle they are. And Titleist too. And I really don't. I'm not a fan of Wilson. 2K. I don't know. Ben Hogan, all right. We'll try Ben Hogan. Let's see if there's another sponsor out there with balls. Someone that I like. Let's go with these guys. Whoops. Sign. Yeah, you're only as good as your last game. That's what AT&T says. You're only as good as your willingness to participate in a deadly large-scale human experiment of something that we're going to call a vaccine that isn't really, that we had to redefine the word vaccine to make it so we could call it that harmed and killed people all over the planet. You know, it's funny to me how funny. It's not really funny. It's crazy, actually. When you think about this, that whole vaccine thing, it was a new technology, right? They touted that as a plus. It was like, that was like a selling point. This new technology we have, oh, it's gonna save the world from the deadly virus. New technology always has long-term testing. before. I mean, it is completely irresponsible to start injecting people with something that has not had long-term testing. Completely, utterly, complete, total, utter irresponsibility. And we all knew that at one point. Everybody understood that. Until the news media started telling them, oh, no, this is good. It doesn't need that. Well, first they said it did have long-term testing. And then come to find out if it just got invented specifically because of this virus, well, the virus, they had, I understand. I'm up on the whole conspiracy side of things, and I listened to a doctor that had worked on that virus in one of the Carolinas, North Carolina, South Carolina, specifically, and she got kicked off the project because she started asking questions about why are we trying to do gain of function research on this. It's like a 2-hour interview with this doctor. They kicked her off the team. They reassigned her to something else because she started asking questions. They told her, oh, this virus is at some point this virus is going to mutate, so we're trying to find a cure before it mutates. So I'm a total believer that they were trying to make the virus more harmful so they could release it. And they wanted a cure also because it's like computers, you create the virus so you can sell the antivirus. It's not that difficult to figure out. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. So we know it was around longer, and I'm not even sure that was the actual virus they released. There had been a thing that had went around maybe 10 years earlier. I don't remember the exact time frame, but I know it killed a guy that was in my group. Not when he was in the same group with me. I was in a different group, but I'd worked with this guy. He was a nice guy, but he died from the flu. And a lot of people that year did, and I had it that year too, and it was bad. My wife went through it also. It was just a bad year for it. Killed a bunch of people, but there was no, the scare tactics weren't involved. It made the media, but the media wasn't really trying to push it, so it wasn't that big a deal. But I almost think they probably could have released something related to that again. Or maybe not. Maybe people would have been immune to it by then. But something similar, I think. I think they released it at that time just because Trump was looking unassailable in the coming election. So they needed a way to knock him down. I remember back then, Bill Maher was saying, we have to have a recession. We need a recession so we can get rid of Trump. This was in Trump's first term, back when he actually represented the people. But, so they released the virus so they could do the lockdowns and shut down all business except for that approved by them. And had it been, I think it was going to go either way, whether it was Trump in or Hillary. I just think with Trump, they sped up the process, so they weren't fully ready for what, which was good for us because we were able to poke holes in it. But I have rambled on so much here. I've lost my train of thought of where I started on. Oh yeah, about the experimental vaccine. So here's the deal. So this, according to their narrative, this is brand new technology to fight this evil, deadly virus. No long-term testing. And they literally, no exaggeration, they made the push to inject that poison into everybody on the planet. They were going to every country and trying to push it to every country on the planet. I've told this to many people. I don't get it because they just have a blank stare. It's like that it doesn't register to people. You, it's like, if you just think about it, stop and think about that for a second. No long-term testing. And we're going to inject it into every human on the planet. Does that not, I mean, if you can hear that sentence and you're just like, oh yeah, then something is not connected in your brain. I mean, some of this stuff can have generational effects down the road. In fact, there's a lot of evidence to show that this shot was causing miscarriages. So it did affect those places where it was injected. No doubt about it. They did their best to tamp everything down, still are. You know, now we got turbo cancers all of a sudden. And suddenly all the things that are anomalies that are popping up, they want to blame on COVID, this virus that's supposedly natural. Well, that's what they told it. It's a natural. No, there's no way it made in a lab. Now they pretty much admitted, yeah, it was a lab, made in a lab. So they lied from the start. They've lied. And the mass of humanity is supposed to go on believing all this crap. I don't know. This is supposed to be a gaming golf video. I'm just, like I said, I'm hopped up on sugar. I'm in the mode to rant today. But I've never... That's that one thing that just gets me. Because I've told this to several people. And everybody was there. They saw this all play out. And they know it was sold as new technology. So by definition, there was no long-term testing. And when you put that fact with the fact, and this is on the table too, there's no denial about this, that they tried to inject the entire planet, the entire mass of humanity, every human on the planet needed to have this shot. That's what they tried to do with no long-term. You put those two things together, to me, that just blows my mind. I'm like, are you kidding me? It's just insanity. But yet, to this day, like in conversations with people when this comes up, with good people, I mean, and I say this, I don't know what it is, because there's no spark. You know, if you're I love to teach people stuff. Over the years, that's been the best thing, when you teach somebody something and a spark, boom, it hits their eyes and they light up and you can see it clicks, you know. For whatever reason, explaining that, putting that out there, that is pretty plain terms. When you just stop for a second and think about it, it doesn't light anybody up. To the point, I feel like I'm gaslighted that's supposed to be, we're just supposed to accept that something, that's normal or something. When it is, I don't know, I think maybe it's just out of their concept of, you know, most people are not conspiracy theorists. I've always been a conspiracy theorist my whole life. So after 56 years, especially the last 10 years, man, I mean, we're off the chain. But that is what really puzzles me, because that is such a cut and dry thing. I mean, no long-term testing, and we're going to inject everybody on the planet with this thing. Those two things together in one sentence should just, like, people should light up and say, what the heck? It should be like, whoa, put the brakes on everything. But I guess the alternative is the fear that's instilled in the public. They're like, because if their governments are not watching out, they, you know, they're looked at as daddy. Daddy's gonna take care of you, and it's more like daddy's taking every opportunity to beat you, but in such a way that you don't know you're being beat. It's abuse on the public. Trump seemed like the last hope, and in his first term, I believe he tried to do what he could. But this second term, man, about 3 months in, and that's when BB showed up. BB started showing up like every month after that. And switch got flipped, and all of a sudden Trump is operating right along with the cabal. So I don't know if they threatened his family or if they... I don't really feel like... I've always been a pretty good judge of character. And for all Trump is, I know he's got his flaws and everything. I don't feel like he was in on the worst part of the Epstein stuff. Now, where exactly that line is, I don't know. It's fuzzy. Maybe, who knows? For sure. I really feel like there's protection for others is the deal. That's how it strikes me. But I could be wrong. Maybe he is the worst of the worst. I just don't. I don't see it. Regardless, at this point it doesn't matter because he's not operating in the interest of the Americans, the American public. He's operating for Israel. Just another Israeli agent. Sad to see. Like most of our representatives now. If you don't go along with Israel, they kick you out. See Thomas Massey for that. Hugely popular congressman. And because he wouldn't go along with them, well, they just torpedoed him. But that said, I don't know. Here I am ranting about all that stuff. I don't even know that it matters anymore, man. Like I say, this is all temporary. We're in the hollow deck, so to speak. So one day this meat suit will shut off and I'll be back into reality. But in the meantime, I want to sell everything and go travel the world. Honestly, I don't even want to go travel the world. I want to find a nice little place on a beach that costs nothing, where I'm out of the way, where I can live and not mess with this entire corporate monstrosity that has become the life of Americans, where everything is paperwork and obligation for people that don't care at all about the kind of life you're living. I don't know. This game is a good game to get started talking. I also do the video game. Sorry, I do the 2K5 videos, NFL 2K5, ESPN, NFL 2K5. I've been doing those, so I don't talk as much on those because it's much more intense, and I have to really be focused to get those things to get done on there what I need to do. But the golf, it's fun, it's slow, and obviously it takes more concentration than what I had today because this was a bad one today. All right, man, I'm gonna wrap it up. I can stay here another 3 hours ramble. All right, everybody. Y'all have a good one. Catch you later. like and subscribe, please.